Hi, good morning. We are reading the Mystery of History, Volume 4. We're on page 63 with Mozart. So, sorry for the page confusion. Oh, no, that's not this time. Sorry, that's in our Bible reading that we've had a little bit of confusion with the pages. But anyway, so we finished the American Revolution. We're looking today at Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. That's a name right there. Yeah. They didn't just go with John or Jim. They went with nothing against those names. I'm just saying they went way different. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Right in the middle of the American Revolution, we are going to see Mozart developing his genius. Okay, so let's start. Do you remember the Stamp Act in 1765? Well, while colonists were rioting against the Stamp Act in the 13 colonies, there was something sensational going on in Europe. A child prodigy was performing on the harpsichord, the clavichord, and the violin before the oohs and ahs of courts and crowds. The young star... Excuse me, cough, go away. The young star was Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. For proper pronunciation, sound out a T in the first syllable of Mozart. Oh, we did that. Mozart. He was a complicated classical musician performing across Europe while the events of the American Revolution were unfolding. In 1756, Mozart was born in Salzburg, Austria. So this 1756 is before... Go away. Sorry, I'm talking to my cough here. It's not my cough anymore. It's gone. 1756 was before any of the American Revolutionary started. So he was born in Austria in a lovely mountain town named for the salt mines, Salzburg. Wolfgang's father was Leopold. He was a composer, violin teacher, and assistant concert master at the Salzburg court. Wolfgang's sister was named Maria Anna, probably, who was affectionately nicknamed Noneural, don't know.
I had trouble pronouncing that name when I read a book about Mozart.
She was a talented little girl who mastered the harpsichord by age 8. Wolfgang was 5 years younger than Noneural, but age 3, he was already picking out tunes on the keyboard. He first started playing the harpsichord as curiously as any small child would, even though his feet could not reach the floor. But it was soon apparent that he was not like other children, because by age 4, he started formal music lessons, and by 5, he was performing for audiences, and by 6, he was supposedly composing his own music. He may have had some help from his father, though. Sometimes parents, kind of are like, oh, he composed his own, but, had a little help.
I remember when I read this part where he had written this music he left on the floor, and his dad seen it and thought it was some scribbling. Then he looked in and saw it was actual notes he could actually play on a piano.
Young Mozart was never forced to play music. It was a natural love for him. Talent, like that found in Wolfgang Mozart, doesn't bring an easy life. He didn't have much time for climbing trees and chasing fireflies like other boys his age. He was touring Europe through most of his childhood. See, that's why I don't agree with that. I mean, that's his father's decision, obviously. But you only have one chance to be a child, and you need that time to just play. And there's plenty of time.
You'll have...
Yes, Kale.
I guess that was an interest as a child.
Yeah, but this is true. I guess we don't know entirely, but most children don't want to play all the time. One specific thing. Yes, Cruz.
So I think Well, yeah, you've got about it. Once you reach age 25, you've got still, since you can live to 124, you still got 99 years to be an adult. Almost 100 years to be an adult.
But children need that free play where it's not structured, where they don't have to do something. You need that. That's where your imagination really forms. Okay. He was traveling long distances by carriage and boat and staying up late at night to entertain adults. See, Kale? You see what I'm saying? He's not getting his proper sleep because he's up entertaining adults with his music. He performed and went sightseeing in Munich, Vienna, Paris, London, Rome, and Milan. Want to guess for whom he played in London?
King George III.
Very good. King George III. For King George, Mozart played pieces by Bach and Handel. At age 12, he wrote his first opera. At 14, he copied from memory an entire piece he had heard in the Sistine Chapel and in the Vatican. See, that's what I had kind of suspected, was that in order to be this good at music this early, your memory has to be super good. The piece was not allowed outside the Vatican, but the authorities forgave him. They forgave him for stealing it by memory. That's a little funny and a little not. They were they were playing this piece of music in the Vatican, and it's not allowed to be played outside the Vatican, but it's a very long, complicated piece of music. So they're not worried about it if you're just sitting in there playing it, because the likelihood that someone could memorize it is so small. But he memorized it and then took it outside the chapel. And he was still a boy, so they were I don't know if they could or not, but they were impressed that he had copied it from memory after hearing it only once. Wolfgang's father was his best music teacher and was also good at administration. Leopold saw to all the details that allowed his family to parade about. Excuse me. Excuse me again. But it was hard for Leopold not to put pressure on his children, who brought in a large income for the family. It was especially hard not to put pressure on Wolfgang, who quickly upstaged his big sister. Ladies of the court, including Maria Theresa of Austria, lavished gifts and jewels and kisses on young Mozart. Everywhere he went, he was just spoiled with praises. That is, until he moved back to Salzburg. At age 18, Mozart would appear to be just another talented Austrian teenager. He was only 5'4". That's Granny's height. Well, she's a little smaller than that now. The older he became, the less impressive was his giftedness at the keyboard. And such is the fame of child prodigies. Why do you think that is?
Because he's not a child anymore.
He's not a child, so the fact that he can play these pieces is not so impressive because he's an adult now. So other adults can play pieces too. But Wolfgang was much more than a talented teen. He was, above all, a composer. He proved it to himself in Salzburg by composing masses and operas and violin concertos. Still, he didn't care for the common treatment that he received. Do you hear that statement?
Common.
He didn't care for it. I don't like being treated just like a regular person. I need to be treated like the genius that I am. That's a little,
prideful.
Yeah. So to escape ordinary life, isn't that everybody's dream? I mean, that's the cry of everybody. I've got to escape this ordinary life, just doing dishes every day, cleaning the floor every day.
Sort of like cars. Not a lot of people are like, let me buy this old 2000s Toyota. They're like, let me get one of those new coupe Lexuses.
So to escape ordinary life, he went on tour again at age 21, but this time with only his mother. We know from the letters written back and forth that the family missed being together. Wolfgang's father wrote to him. He said, I have nothing but joy to expect from you, and this alone must console me when I am robbed by your absence of a father's delight in hearing you, seeing you, and folding you in my arms. Oh, that's a nice note. Despite the family's long-distance woes, Wolfgang met a girl on the way to Paris, and he fell in love with her but lost her heart to someone else. It's kind of a short Like, it's like just like an afterthought with 2 sentences. He met her, he fell in love, and lost her heart. So I don't think she was really loving him. I mean, clearly, because she decided to love someone else. Then suddenly Wolfgang lost his mother. She passed away while they were on tour in Paris. It doesn't say. The family was crushed. Disappointment was everywhere for Wolfgang. His fame had waned as a child prodigy, and there was little demand for his work. His only consolation in Paris was discovering the piano, a new instrument to him. Without good pay on the tour, he was forced to return to Salzburg and be subject again to the demands of his father. Wolfgang, impulsive and frivolous, needed his father's tough love, but he didn't always appreciate it. Marriage and music. So we're going to read this little part and then we're going to stop. In 1781, Mozart, I'll simply call him by his last name now, goes out from under his father again. So what she was saying was his father was very strict and kind of like pressuring him and pushing him to be better. You got to practice. You got to do this. And he had left his father and went on tour with his mother because that pressure was too much for him. He thought, I mean, for a small child, it's too much. As you get older, if that's the route that you're pursuing, a lot of times that's what you need. You need someone to kind of push you to be better. Because our flesh tends to say, no, I don't think I'll practice today. I practiced yesterday.
And the day before that, and the day before that.
So, but then he says he kind of needed that because he was impulsive and frivolous. What does impulsive mean? Impulsive means a thought comes to my mind and I do it. I didn't really consider whether that was what the Lord wanted me to do. I didn't consider if it was right. I just did it. Frivolous, what does that mean?
No idea either. I've never heard.
Frivolous means he's doing things that aren't necessary. Like, he doesn't like to be treated like an ordinary person. He likes to be treated like a genius. Frivolous means like, I've got to go dine at the best of the best restaurants. And that's what he's used to. Spending money on food or luxuries that he doesn't have to spend, especially now that he doesn't have the income coming in that he used to.
Yeah.
So he moved to Vienna. So he left his father again. He moved to Vienna and he fell in love again with a woman named Constance Weber. She was the younger sister of the girl that had broken his heart. That's not a good idea. To then want to marry the sister, because then you're always in a relationship, sort of, you know what I mean? You're always in contact with the other girl.
Yeah.
Leopold did not approve of the relationship, but Mozart, who could be stubborn, married the girl anyway. Constance was frolicsome, like Mozart, and a big spender. Together they were poor financial managers of his growing career. They were loved to spend, and they were like, oh, we don't have any money. Mozart could have given more music lessons at any time to help pay his outrageous debts, but he preferred not to. So this is where character comes in, which he kind of missed in the training up as a child. He didn't have a lot of training up as a child because he's out there just touring, making money. So he hasn't had that opportunity to develop the character of...
What's touring?
Meaning just going around to different places and playing his harpsichord and clavichord and people cheering and then going on to the next city. He doesn't have a lot of home training where you have to pick up your mess that you just made. You pulled out your stuff, now you got to put it back up. And you got to do the dishes. Like that's character training that he hasn't had. And so it doesn't bother him that he has these outrageous debts because he's always had like his dad to just kind of handle that stuff. With some arrogance, he once wrote to his father, I can't be expected to have to keep an appointment or to have to wait for someone at a house. I won't do it. That sort of work is for those who can't do anything else except play the keyboard. I am a composer. You need to take the pride down a notch, Mozart. All right, we're going to stop there. Here's a picture of him. You know what Miss Joyce always says? She says, what did she say? Your talent can take you somewhere that your character, but it's your character. How does she say it? Your talent can take you somewhere that your character can't keep you. Meaning if you can have great talent like he has, but if you don't have the character to maintain the position, you can quickly fall from your high horse of success. That's why the Lord spends a lot of time developing us. A lot of time we're like, I'm ready, Lord, I'm ready. Send me to the ministry. And he's like, not yet. Character's not quite there yet. All right, we are finished. We will pick up tomorrow. We finished on page 64, and we'll pick up probably tomorrow. All right, bye.